What's up, Guardians? Hope your day's going well, hope your week's going well. If not, I do hope it gets better. But something about this hand cannon, man, I don't know what it is. I had a really hard time getting this thing to resonate with me. You know how there are certain weapons that just feel good for some reason you can't really explain? Well, that's how a lot of hand cannons in this game are for me. Ace of Spades, Austringer, Rose, Palindrome, Cantata, and many more, and I expected Exalted Truth to be the same way, but for some reason it took me a long time to get the hang of this thing. Granted, this is something I hear a lot about the Suros hand cannons in general. Just something about them, I don't know what it is. I felt like I had a harder time hitting shots with this hand cannon than I did others, regardless of the use of targeting mods or the roll. But after a while, I did start to get the hang of it, and now I actually really like it. I think for raw feeling in our energy hand cannons, Palindrome is probably still better, but Exalted Truth is probably still the better overall option. The thing is, as far as the rolls and the feeling of the weapon go, it doesn't have anything too special. It has the standard roll everyone wants in the form of Eye of the Storm and Rangefinder, though I do wish it had Opening Shot as well, but that's another topic. And really, the closest thing you'll get to a special roll would be Rangefinder with Encore, and we'll talk about that too. Now, if you're not convinced yet, let me explain something to you. I cannot stand Trials of Osiris. I hate Trials as a mode. I think Elimination is a shit mode. I always have. That's not going to change, so don't argue it with me in the comments. And Trials is just Elimination in gold makeup. It somehow manages to be incredibly stressful while also being a complete snooze fest as two teams spend most of the match poking at each other with primaries or sniper rifles, waiting for someone to make a mistake and get picked off for things to actually kick into gear somewhat. I hate Trials of Osiris, so why did I spend 4 days straight grinding it trying to get that perfect Exalted Truth? Let's talk about it. First off, the big thing that sets Exalted Truth apart is that it is an absolute stat monster. Let's go over to Gunsmith real quick and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so here we are on D2 Gunsmith, and let me show you really quick what I personally would consider the ideal roll to be. So to start, you have Hammerforged Rifling as your barrel perk, Accurized Rounds as your magazine perk, Rangefinder in the third column, and Eye of the Storm in the fourth column. For our masterwork here, we're going to go to range. Of course, you'll max that out. That will take you up to 80 range, 61 stability, and 58 handling. And those three stats, range, stability, and handling, are the most important stats on a hand cannon. Then let's take a look at what you can do with Adept mods. So you could go with Adept Range, which will take you up to an absolutely insane 90 range, giving you a damage drop-off of somewhere around 24 to 37 meters. Or if you wanted to make this hand cannon maybe a bit more well-rounded, you could go with Adept Stability, which will still keep you at 80 range, but you'll have 71 stability. Or even something like Adept Handling, which will take you to 80 range, 61 stability, and 68 handling. So on and so forth. And the thing that's so great about this hand cannon is if you look at those three stats, there are so many options here depending on which one you want to max out. Like, I know plenty of people who prefer to lean more into stability or handling, and there's still tons of options there. Such as, let's say that you wanted to maybe turn this into a very high stability hand cannon. You could go with Polygonal, Steady Rounds. I would probably still keep Rangefinder and Eye of the Storm in the third and fourth column. Then you go with a Stability Masterwork and max that out. That does hurt your range, taking it down to 48, but your stability is at 93. That will make this weapon an actual laser beam. And of course, you could do the same sort of thing for handling if that's what you want to do. Now for this roll, we still have the Adept Handling mod on. Adept Stability probably isn't worth it in this roll because you're already at 93 stability, so you may just want to slap on an Adept Range mod to bring your range back up to a, more usable level. That's really what makes this hand cannon so insane, is that with the perks and, depending on what masterwork you go for, what Adept mods you use, this is an extremely versatile hand cannon and an absolute stat monster. And probably why I would say that this is probably the best energy 140 hand cannon in the game currently. So that's the big reason I like this hand cannon. The stats are out of this world. That alone makes it worth going through the suffering that is Trials of Osiris. Now let's talk about the rolls. The perks in the first two columns that I showed you in Gunsmith, namely Hammer-Forged Rifling and Accurized Rounds, are exactly what I'd go for on this weapon every single time. Like I said, if you wanted to lean more into stability or handling, there are options there too, but Hammer-Forged and Accurized would be my first choices there, no question. In the third column, we have Outlaw, Rangefinder, Killing Wind, Under-Over, Shot Swap, Perfect Float, and Slick Draw. My top choices here would be Rangefinder, Perfect Float, or Outlaw. Rangefinder for the increase in your zoom and thus range. Perfect Float because it's basically just a better version of Frenzy, which is already something of a sleeper perk. And Outlaw because having a faster reload never hurts. The strongest choice here is going to be Rangefinder, but Perfect Float isn't bad by any means whatsoever. Outlaw is the weakest of the three, but still a decent enough perk. I do definitely wish that we had Opening Shot here, since I kind of tend to prefer Opening Shot over Rangefinder these days, but hey, you can't have it all, I guess. Now in the fourth column, we have Kill Clip, Frenzy, Eye of the Storm, Gut Shot, Repulsor Brace, Rampage, and Encore. Definitely more to work with here than in the third column. Best choices here are probably Eye of the Storm, Encore, Kill Clip, Frenzy, and maybe Repulsor Brace. Rampage is fine too, but not one of my preferred choices on our 140s. My first picks would be Eye of the Storm or Encore. Eye of the Storm because it's just a good perk across the board. It's a much-loved perk on hand cannons for a reason. The bump to your handling and accuracy just for taking damage means that this perk will help you in nearly every gunfight you get into. My next choice is Encore, because Final Blows will grant you a bonus to your stability, range, and accuracy, and it can stack up to 4 times. You may remember me talking about Encore on my review of Stay Frosty, and it was a good perk there, and it's a great one here. Critical Final Blows grant 2 stacks of Encore, Body Shot Final Blows grant 1. This perk would probably be my first choice for 6s. Yes, even over something like Kill Clip. I tend not to be as big of a fan of Kill Clip on 140s because unlike 120s or even 180s, it doesn't actually decrease your time to kill. It does add forgiveness, meaning that you won't have to land as many crits, but if that's what you want, then you might as well use Ace because Mori does the same thing as Kill Clip, but better and with no timer. But Encore leans into what hand cannons are good at, consistency in duels. The bonuses that Encore gives you means that you can turn this hand cannon into a laser beam. Recoil becomes a non-issue once it starts stacking. This makes chaining kills surprisingly easy, which is why I'd probably take this over Eye of the Storm for 6s. That being said, Eye of the Storm would probably still be my first choice because it's going to be useful in both 3v3 modes and in 6v6, making it a bit more versatile. Encore can work in 3v3 modes as well, but with the lower player count, you just won't be able to take advantage of it as easily as in 6s. Plus, Eye of the Storm does not require a final blow. It will help you in every gunfight you get into the instant you start taking damage. As far as the other perks go, Kill Clip is still fine for obvious reasons. It grants forgiveness. Frenzy is good as well. It gives you a bonus to your damage, handling, and reload speed after being in combat for 12 seconds. Note that, like I said, Perfect Float works in a similar manner, giving you a bonus to your AE and reducing flinch, but it only requires you to be in combat for 3 seconds. These perks unfortunately do not feed off of each other, but like I said, Frenzy is still a good perk, and keep in mind with both Frenzy and Perfect Float, you'll have to make sure you're landing hits or taking damage consistently to keep it working. But both are definitely good perks if you can get the timing down. Repulsor Brace is my least favorite choice of the perks I've listed here. It will grant you an overshield if you kill a target with a void debuff, but that overshield only lasts 6 or so seconds and requires your target to be debuffed, whereas the other perks listed do not. That being said, if you have a void build for PvP, this probably isn't a bad choice. So all that being said, my top combos for the third and fourth column would be Rangefinder in the third column and either Eye of the Storm or Encore in the fourth. For your masterwork, I'd take range, but stability definitely isn't a bad option either. For that matter, neither is handling, which I know firsthand. Now listen guys, like I said, I spent 4 days straight playing nothing but trials. I got more than 20 Exalted Truths total, and this was the best roll I got. I was furious, man, actually tilted as fuck. If this had a range masterwork, I would have been the happiest guardian out there. But the handling masterwork still isn't bad. Handling is an important perk on cannons, but as a whole, I still would have preferred range or stability, with range being my first choice. That being said, this is still a very good all-arounder type of hand cannon. High range, high stability, and very good handling because of the masterwork. As a side note to Bungie, people might hate the flawless pool less if you at least made it so an adept weapon drop was guaranteed on every victory, or at least every other victory. Just a thought. Next time Exalted Truth is up, I'll try grinding out the God roll again. But for now, just know this, Exalted Truth is a great hand cannon. Yes, the Suros cannons feel kind of weird, but if you can get the hang of them, then this hand cannon will definitely serve you well. So get out there and grind it out. You definitely will not regret it. But that's all for me today, Guardians. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if you like this hand cannon or not. But for now, please do me a favor and leave me a like, a comment, and don't forget to hit subscribe with that bell icon. We recently passed 250 subscribers and are nearing 300, and I want to thank everyone who's decided to stick around on my little YouTube channel. It really does mean a lot knowing that there are people out there who enjoy my content, so thank you. Also, I've dropped the link to my Twitch in the description. Make sure you go and give me a follow there. I want to start streaming more often, and when Lightfall drops next week, we're probably going to be streaming pretty much all day. But for now, Guardians, I will see you all in the next video. Peace.